So we are 4 weeks and 5 days out from stepping on stage.
Yeah.
Where is your head at right now, Ryan?
My head's fully focused on prep now. So it always has been from the moment we start prep at 16 weeks out. It's all I've focused on. But obviously, as we get closer to show day, things are ramping up. You start to visualize a lot more, and that's kind of where I'm at now. So like my visualization in the morning when I'm doing my cardio, an hour just focusing on one thing and still center stage in that box, never moving from there, and really immersing myself in that feeling of winning. And that's kind of where I'm at. Obviously, I'm tired, I'm fatigued, energy levels are low, but that's all part of prep. And it kind of, I've been doing this for 16 years, 22 years bodybuilding, but 16 years stepping on stage and prepping. And you know the signs, you know what you're looking for, and I'm exactly where I need to be at this stage. So, yeah.
Because I know you've mentioned, on previous occasions that this prep feels different. It feels like you even seem like you're in a different headspace, like you want it more. I don't want to say the word that you seem like you're coming more spiteful with it and you really want to take what's yours, and no one's touching you. You've mentioned the fact that it's yours, and that's the way it's going to be, type of thing. What would you say that your mindset is? How is it different to last preps and last Olympias?
Yeah, so this prep feels very, very different. It feels quite personal, if I'm honest. If I'm being brutally honest, like, I say disappointed, but this prep, there's a lot of talk, a lot of smack talk, a lot of hype going off from other athletes, which I'm not privy to. I've never been privy to in previous preps. It's never really happened with me. I've seen it happen, but I've never ever been in the firing line. So it's never really affected me. I've always kept my head down, focus on what I need to do, stay in the shadows, keep in the trenches, and just focus on one thing, which is winning. This year, there's been a lot of shots fired at me, so I've had to kind of deal with that, which I've never had to deal with in the past. And I'm not somebody who goes on social media and starts retaliating and doing all that kind of stuff. But it did affect me, I'll not lie, it has affected me, but in a good way. I've channeled it in a good way to the fact that it's made me feel like I'm the underdog again. It's made me feel like I have to prove myself to the world again. It's made me feel like other athletes feel they've got a way in and they're better than me. So it's gave me that dog fight in me to really push and just close the door on them. And that is how I've been so far. And granted, maybe got a bit too carried away, got a little bit too angry with it. I was training harder, I was cutting my calories more. I wanted to be uber shredded now because I'm quite an impatient person. But I've had to step back this past week, have a refeed, reset and get back in my lane, because that's not going to serve me in the long run by focusing on other people and what they're doing and how they've affected me. At the end of the day, it's for me to block that out and focus on what's made me win the last 2 years.
Did you ever toy with the idea of hitting back online? Or was it just something you wanted to do, working quietly in the gym, grafting away and kind of staying in that shadow?
Yeah, so for me, no. There's certain things where there was a lot of things what have been twisted, my words have been twisted and basically lies and have been put out there. So it was really hard for me to just sit back and not say anything and explain what that meant, because people who have just seen that side of it wouldn't have seen the full story, and it was completely made up or twisted. So it was frustrating at that point, but then you get a reality check that you're a grown man, you're a married man, and you've got 2 kids, you're a businessman, and you're number 1 in the world. So shots are always gonna get fired, and the more you retaliate or the more you get yourself wound up in negative situations, how is that going to serve you? How is your energy being dropped to that level going to better the outcome in the long run? So I had to just think, now you talk your shit, I'll carry on with what I need to do, and I'll do my talking on stage, and that is what I intend to do.
Routine wise, obviously 2 weeks time we're going out there. Do you have any plans to do anything different, or is it straight back into what you did last year? Is it exactly the same, or do you have a bit of a different game plan this time?
Yeah, so for me, knowing obviously New York, Pittsburgh and Vegas is looming now. We're 2 weeks out, less than 2 weeks, which is that's the reality, or that's the reality check for me to say we're in the final stages. And for me, that's the point where everything really does change and you can just lock in and be a fully fledged bodybuilder. Most of the guys I compete against are fully fledged bodybuilders for 16 weeks of the prep. For me, it's very difficult with the lifestyle I live with, obviously 2 kids, a wife, businesses. There's a lot of juggling parts over here, whereas when you go over there, there's not, and you can become Mr. Olympia, reigning champion, and a bodybuilder. So it's brilliant for me because it's the final touches. It's the giving the body rest in between your training sessions. It's training 3 times a day. It's hitting your posing every single day. You're not looking at the time thinking I've got to get back for the school run. You're in there as long as you need to be. You're fatigued, and then you go back and rest. You eat, you sleep, you chill, you visualize, you think all things bodybuilding for that final few weeks. And yeah, nothing's going to change in the last 2 years. What's happened in the last 2 years? We'll get straight in. Got my sponsors who have been in my corner since day one, since 2015. Nutrition Solutions have helped me. So ordered all my food ready for the day we land. All my food should be, fingers crossed, all be ready to go. Supplement wise, my protein already got me handled. The US team, everything I need will be on my doorstep there. Obviously we'll still need to do like a supermarket run, get the final pieces we need. Seeing Steve on the 25th, so we land on the 24th. Steve Weinberger, we're going to be seeing him to get just a first overview of where we're at 2 weeks out and what we need to be working on in that 2 weeks. No doubt there will be stuff what's not quite right, because Steve is the head judge and he looks for faults. It'll probably be to do with my back. I'll call this now, but it'll probably to do with something to do with my back. And then we get to work, have a game plan, and we get to work for the final push.
I know that in terms of how far champions go, what I think makes you truly great, Ryan, is that you are able to be your biggest critique. And I've noticed that with how you talk, the way you are, but even being around you personally. And I know that when you won the last Olympia, you weren't particularly big on how you looked.
Yeah.
Is it true that you were actually unable to look back at the footage?
So, yeah, that's very true. So I've actually seen the footage twice, minutes of it. I've never watched the full thing, and I've seen snippets twice. And I only watched the second time. I watched it a few weeks ago when I was on the Olympia TV, when they were putting snippets up when we were doing a live podcast. Because, yeah, I am my own worst critique, and I think it's important to be like that. If you want to be the best, or if you're chasing perfection, you know you have strong points, or it's the weak points. It's the points you need to be able to correct or find fault with and try and correct in order to be better. And it's what keeps you driving, keeps you moving forward. So last year I was just disappointed in myself. Again, it's things we can correct, and it's things I will have corrected for this year, but it was just because I expect a lot from myself, and I want to be at my best. And when I'm showcasing my physique, I don't want to look back and think that could have been better or should have been better. I want to know at the time I step on stage, I've done everything I possibly can to be at my best at that time. And then if I was to lose, I couldn't hide behind anything, because I'm like, well, at that time, that was my very best. Yes, I need to improve for next year if I want to win, but I can't say, well, it's because I missed a meal, or it's because I didn't get lean enough, or because I did this or did that. I always want to be accountable. Because
I guess you could argue and say the reason that you don't like to look at the footage, obviously you've saw something of that footage when you have thought, I'm not going to even. You already know what it is. Now that's for you to keep in your mind, because you don't want to reveal your game plan where you might think there's any weaknesses or things you might want to correct. Can we safely say for this year, you've eradicated those weaker points?
Yeah, 100%. To the point where I've probably gone too far with it. So again, it's an obsessive personality. I think anybody who wants to be successful in something, or who, is determined to be number one in the world at whatever they're doing, has to obsess over it to an unhealthy obsession. And that is what I do. So I find what was wrong, like I say, and I've had 365 days to think about it from last year to this year. And as soon as I started prep, that was one of the forefronts of it. I want to keep my strong points and make sure we don't jeopardise that. But the weak points I showed last year won't be weak points this year. And yeah, we can talk about it. The midsection. Midsection was always my strongest point, and going back, it was always Ryan Terry's midsection what kind of kept him up in the mix. When I turned to the back, or that's kind of where I lost places because size, density, thickness was never there. But my midsection was always what kept me going. Whereas last year, just the last couple of days of prepping myself, a bit of inexperience of a few things that happened, I blew my stomach and I wasn't very comfortable. It was swollen, just quite filmed over, just wasn't the way I've normally showcased it, and people picked up on that, and I felt uncomfortable, and I just don't want that to ever happen again. So I've worked tirelessly every morning, vacuums, side planks, front planks, everything you can imagine, going through my posing rounds every morning to make sure it's tight, solid, and we won't hit that again.
I want to touch on the family thing, Ryan. Obviously, you are a family man. The world knows you for that as well.
Yeah.
You're managing multiple things. Your kids are getting older. How much emphasis does, your wife and your kids, certainly growing up, getting older now, have on that term legacy for you? Because again, I'm sure the kind of determination of everything you're doing now is greater because of those little ones. You've got a little lad and a girl.
Yeah.
Like growing up, what does that feel like for you as a dad now? Like, does it mean more to you?
Yeah, 100%. Like when I first started this journey bodybuilding, it was all about me, myself, and I. It's a selfish sport, and it has to be. And I was chasing titles, chasing accolades, that sort of thing. And I wasn't doing it for anybody else other than myself. And as soon as I had kids, it's like a flick of a switch where it's not about you anymore. It instantly becomes into like what's the word? Like, not survival method, but like you're a provider now, and you protect, and these kids rely on you now. So it's not just about earning a title, it's about providing a good life for these kids and making sure they are proud of their dad and they look up to their dad, because I didn't really have that kind of role growing up, and I really want to instill that to my kids. I want them to look up to me and be proud of me, so they give me that extra drive. And it is getting harder as they're getting older, because they're more aware, but they see their dad obviously off season and whatever, where I can be playing with them every day. I'm really, really involved 24/7, and as I'm getting closer to this, I'm getting less and less energy wise, and it does hurt. But at the same time, I'm like, he picks my gold medal up all the time, and he goes on about it. And whether he's aware of it yet, he's still 4, he's nearly 5, but whether he's fully aware of it yet, I'm like, I never want that to end. It's weird. It's going to have to at some point when I retire and whatever. But just that feeling of when he picks it up and he's so proud of me, I'm like, come on. And like legacy is, because I do feel like he's understanding it. He wanted to come out this year, and I was tempted to bring him out this year, but he's just started his school, full-time school and stuff, and it was taking him out of that. And yeah, massively helps the drive. And
the support from Amy as well, how's that been this year in comparison? Because obviously there's more at stake now. There's more to fight for, there's more to, the legacy is building. So have you found that you've had more support from your own network now?
Yeah, Amy has been my biggest supporter from day one. Since I met her, she came into this world, like when I met her, didn't have a clue about fitness, didn't have a clue who I was, because I'd already built a name at that point before I'd met her. She didn't have a clue, which was nice. And she used to live on a 4-cheese pizza and a tub of Pringles every day when I met her. So innocent, and I absolutely loved that. And she literally immersed herself into my world and supported me from day one. And I remember, which must have been so weird, when I first met her, within a few weeks, it's when I'd just gone over to America and I qualified for the Olympia, won the Pittsburgh Pro. So her first few weeks of us seeing each other, won the Pittsburgh Pro, went to the Olympia 6 months later, she came with me. And then every year since, she's been there. She's been my biggest support, by my side, seen all the ups, all the downs, seen it all. So the support she's given me has been astronomical. But then obviously having kids, even she feels it, and we talk about this, like she feels she's not a part of it because they're her sole focus now, and I feel obviously I don't get the what's the word? It sounds really bad. Get the attention because it is about the kids, and I feel for her because she's not as a part of it as she used to be. But I know she'd 100% be with me 24/7 if she could. And yeah, she picks the slack up with the kids with me now. I'm starting to struggle. She's phenomenal. She's picking up where I can't. And she'll be at the Olympia with me. And see, I was training today. I get a text from her because she's training at the same time, just saying, keep going, you're smashing it, you look amazing. Little things like that, just phenomenal. Couldn't ask for anything more.
Now, obviously, the world of bodybuilding, mate, and the price of being great sometimes is injury and things like that. And you're no stranger to niggles and injuries yourself. I think it's worth talking about the fact that you've had stem cell earlier this year. People are going to want to know, and even me, how are you actually feeling from the result of that? Is it still too early to tell?
Yeah.
Where you at?
Yeah. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's a wonder drug and yeah, I feel $1 million and it's changed my life, because it hasn't, and that's not the truth. Like, whether it's still early days, I haven't really seen massive change, if I'm brutally honest. Whether or not that's because I've gone full ham into a prep near enough straight away, and I'm training 2-3 times a day, and I'm really putting my body through it. The same injuries are still there. The hips, still not amazing. Had a few niggles with the knee this year, which is a new one for me. But it's funny because every time I start a prep, I get an injury, and it's kind of the norm. So whenever something goes, it's like, oh, so this is going to be the injury. We have to like overcome this prep, and it kind of just became I say a laugh. It's not a laugh because it freaking hurts, but in my family and in my circle, it's like, all right, so this is what we have to deal with. I ring my physio, Johnny, and he's like, well, what is it now? I said, well, it's my knee now, like so. And we just work around it, and it is part of bodybuilding. Your body's not designed to train the way we train every day, 365 days a year. I've done it for 22 years, so kind of expect that I'll have injuries.
I always, when I look at your life, and like even doing content bits and bobs, right, the amount of travelling I've been a part of with you, I'm thinking this is wild, right?
Yeah.
How do you actually manage doing that much travelling, especially at this time, like in your career?
Yeah, to be honest, when you're younger and obviously you're new to the industry and you want to make a name for yourself, and you're getting all these opportunities. Look, I come from not a lot, do you know what I mean? And I would have never had all these opportunities to just travel the world and experience all these amazing experiences. So I never take it for granted, and I've loved doing it. It becomes difficult when you become a dad. Obviously got kids and all that kind of stuff, but it kind of comes part and parcel with the job. But it is difficult, and as you get closer to show, it becomes really difficult. In the early days, I was a yes man, and I kind of just adapted. It's just part of it. I was like that excitement, that young energetic athlete. But as I've got older, it's definitely a lot harder. Definitely a lot harder.
Final question for you, Ryan. What is going through your mind on a daily basis to keep you going for this year? Like really, when no one's there and you're by yourself, what are the thoughts that are running through Ryan Terry's head?
I think what's important is obviously to focus on the end goal. But if you obsess on the end goal, that time, ticking down the time, will become quite monotonous, and it'll become a long journey. I kind of break it down day by day. So I need to know what I've got to achieve in that day, and I just tick away. Don't overthink it. Don't think, oh, if I do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. I just think, right, my meal's at 10:30. I need to be on the gym floor for 11:30. I need to be training till 1:30. I need my shake at this time. And it sounds really simple, but if you just immerse yourself in the little wins, the days just pass by, and that's kind of what I'm doing. Like in between, obviously my training schedule, I've got a lot of work, what keeps my mind busy, keeps that sort of stuff. So the only time I really focus on, like, get really immersed in it, is that hour in the morning when I do my cardio. Think of nothing more other than that stage, the lights, even like the press conferences. I've had chats on the press conference stage about what I'd say, what this and that, and putting the jacket on, like actually visualizing putting the jacket on. Sounds really cheesy and corny, but I do that every morning. And then say walking past all the athletes and standing in that centre stage, that centre box. There's that, and then when I train, put my headphones in. I train on my own now. Put my headphones in, and between sets, I'm just focusing on why we're doing this. Is anyone training as hard as you? No. It'll all be worth it. We've got 5 weeks to graft. And yeah, I love bodybuilding. I love what it gives me. I love putting myself in the trenches and pushing my body to its limits every day.
This year, you become 3 times Mr. Olympia, mate.
100%. 3 times Mr. Olympia, legacy prep, and then who knows, people might consider me as the greatest ever. I don't know, we'll see. And that sounded really egotistical, but I don't mean it like that. I just mean on paper, like accolades, but fingers crossed, we shall see. But people talk about what's going to happen after the Olympia. Like, what's your thoughts? What's going through your mind? Nothing's going through my mind up until that Olympia. There's nothing. Obviously, the 4 times would be amazing with Jeremy Buendia, the greatest ever men's physique guy. But that's next year. We're not even thinking about that. We're focused solely on getting my 3 times, matching Brandon Hendrickson, and bringing that title home.
And do you think, just to clear that, do you think that will then solidify you as the GOAT?
That's not for me to make that decision. Like, nah, that's definitely, the people have to say that, don't they? That's not for me to shout that out. But I'd like to think you'd be in the running for it and start to talk about it. And it's not like I'm desperate to be the greatest ever. It's a goal of mine that when I retire from bodybuilding, that I will be classed as that, whether or not it's 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it is. I would just love to have that accolade, to be considered as that.
Because one thing, I know we talked about this previously with Johnny at yours. I think one thing people are not putting in the mix, I get everything, on paper and how things can look, and you can disregard and include whatever you want, but the fact that what I think is a massive string to your bow to add to that GOAT title, if you like, is the fact that you're flying the flag from the UK. I think that's a massive thing that never gets a mention, but I think that's definitely worth understanding what you're actually doing. You're inspiring your country and doing it for your country. I think that's got to be included in when someone gets GOAT status. I think that's got to be well part of it as well.
I think there's a lot of moving factors in that, to consider. Sorry, there's a lot of, like, for me, I remember like it was yesterday, 2015, I qualified and I looked on, there was 41 countries, they were all American, and there was just this British flag, and I was like, I was so proud. Obviously, I was a needle in a haystack type of situation, but it was just a mad feeling then. And then to see now, 10 years on, to see 5, 6 UK athletes up there now. You've got a lot of Brazilians, China, loads from Europe. It's mad to see how much the division's evolved and stuff, and I'm still there in the mix, like 10 years on, which is crazy. It is really crazy, to be honest, but I'm very grateful for it.
Ryan, thank you, mate. 3 times this year. Let's go.
Legacy prep, let's go.